Well, welcome back, my friends, all to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Outdoors. Now, no, the whole video won't be in this speed. We're going to talk about it in a minute. This is the Flick from Carnivora Tools. Now, the designer on this is Bryce Plummer, and I'm going to tell you in a minute why this is my dream knife, but let's just dive into it. Let me give you some specs. The blade stock is 3/16 inches thick. The overall length is 8 inches. The blade length is 3 1/4. The cutting edge is 3 inches. The blade width is 1 3/4, pretty wide. The handle's 5 inches. The inner grip's 4 1/2. The handle thickness across the back is 13/16. The handle width at the palm swell is 13/16. Now, here's the deal. This knife, I'll tell you what this is. This is the Colossus from Cold Steel as a fixed blade. How do I know? Because a year and a half ago, I was talking to Bobby Shue, and this is the exact knife I had in mind. Now, here's the thing. From time to time, when a design will come out, people say, oh, I drew that up 20 years ago. I'm not saying it in that regard. I am excited about this for a couple of reasons. One is, Bobby and I talked at length about this design. This is, if I was going to design a knife, now I'm not a knife designer, I'll collab on some. This is my ideal knife, okay? You see that leaf-shaped blade, the handle, everything. Now, this is a prototype. It was sent to me by Carnivora Tools, Don and Brock Woodson over there. Brock is the maker. Now, guys, from this point forward, I'm just going to say Don and Brock from Carnivora. I'm not going to try to differentiate, okay? It's just easier this way. They sent me like 10 knives. A lot of them are prototypes. This is one. It is in Nitro V steel with green micarta handle scales. Here's the thing. Here's why I'm excited about this. One, it validates what I had in my head, right? Somebody else thought of the same thing. That's exciting to me, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is it works. Now, I did a ton of cutting in this video. Let me explain the opening. A couple of weeks ago when I was at Blackie's, I was talking to William Collins, who's one of my favorite knife makers. And we were talking about knives and handles and how important the handle is. And the one way to really kind of determine if a handle has hot spots is use, extended use. So what I did, what you saw up front was about a 5-minute clip that I had to put times 5 to get it down in the correct time frame. But I used the knife for 5 minutes solid. Now that doesn't sound like a lot until you try to use a knife shaving wood for 5 minutes solid. I love the handle. I love the beginnings of this knife. Now, I would say a little bit of tapering on the handle in certain spaces, but that's nothing. That's nothing. The handle fits in hand. It's comfortable. It's comfortable to my hand. I can hold it in any position. And one thing I tried to do throughout this video is show you a lot of different grips, okay? One of the big reasons I started moving towards a tri-stick and using a tri-stick is it's not just a knife skill thing, right? It's a good way to develop skills, but it also forces you to use the knife in a lot of different ways. By doing that, you can find hot spots, you can see the sweet spots, etc. The thing that I like about this knife, one, I love micarta handle skills, but two, the way the handle contours to my hand. Now, I have a larger hand, right? So for a smaller hand, it might take a little bit of tweaking. The beautiful thing about this knife and some of these prototypes is they're going to be at Blade Show for feedback. So if you go to Blade Show, go buy Carnivora Tools. Check these out. Check this one out in particular. Bryce, great job, man. And I'm serious when I say that. I even went back through some of the conversations that Bobby and I had and some of the sketches that he did. I don't care about being a knife designer. I really don't. I like to collab. I like to talk knives. But in my head, because that Colossus was a Grail folder of mine, I love the shape of the blade. I love the handle shape. This is it, man. And I love the fact that it works. Now here you see it comes in a Kydex sheath with an ulti-clip. I got it on the inside of my belt. Easy to pull, easy to put back. I love that. But again, for me, this knife is twofold. It's the handle, fits my hand, easy to use, comfortable. And it's that leaf shape, which is conducive for work. Now, I've had a couple people say, Scab, that would be a hell of a skinner. That would be something to try out. I may take it with me to Blackie's and get like Blackie or Dakota or one of those guys, maybe to try to skin something or something like that. But for me, this knife is a perfect work knife. Now, we already know about Brock Woodson's build quality. We already know that. It's going to come sharp. It's going to come right. The fit and finish is right. I love all that. This video is more about use. Now watch here, guys. And one thing I wanted to explain to you. Not every knife do we need to slam through a 4x4, okay? When I cut the water hose and I cut like the air hose and I do that, and I do this right here in particular where I just slide the knife in, like right here. Slide the knife in. I like to see if I can control the cut, especially with some of that yellow dead man hose. You see me pointing to the back. The knife didn't go through the back, so I was able to slide it in, slide it down, and get it done. This knife is very, very, very easy to control. Why is that important? Because if you're working, if you've got a couple of things going while you always want to practice knife safety, especially on YouTube, great God Almighty, please don't ever make a mistake. But when you're at work, you've got a lot of things going, a lot of distractions going. It's good to know that you got a knife that is comfortable in hand, but you also know that no matter how you orient that knife, it's going to be comfortable. I didn't find any hot spots. Now you see here, we're stripping wire. I tried to do a lot of different things so we could turn the knife in a lot of different ways, right? It works on everything we did. We did a little wood shaving, wire stripping. We're going to do some batoning at the end. Everything is conducive. Again, this is a prototype. So there's always room for improvement. The only way, though, that I see to improve something is by using it. What I think I'm going to do is this. I think I'm going to get Don to send this one back to me. Now, we're in a little bit of a time crunch. We're about a month and a half out from Blade. So I got to get these reviews done, get them back to Brock so he can tighten them up, get them ready for Blade. I think what I would like to do is get this knife back after Blade and do some long-term testing on. Although that's not really what I do and it's not really a big part of the channel, I think that it would fit this knife well, and I think it would be conducive for the knife. I love the sharpness. I love the Nitro V steel. Now right here too, slicing this sandblast hose, it's a tough medium to cut, but it's a tough medium to cut for a couple of reasons. If you've got a long piece, right, and you got plenty of room to grab it, and you're not worried about slicing yourself or anything like that, well, that's easy. When you get these shorter pieces and you're holding it up, it makes it a little more difficult. It's also reinforced, okay? And that reinforced, so you're cutting through the outer layer and then you're going through the inner layer. That's where controlling the knife comes in huge. You don't want a knife that's uncomfortable or unruly, or there's hot spots in the handle, because you've got to be able to swap positions. You've got to be able to manipulate that knife. Now, I had gotten a little carried away with the cutting stuff, just to get the different grips down and to feel how it felt in hand on different grips. And then I thought, well, we better do a little bit of hard use. Although at this point, I've used enough of Brock's knives, and we've got some bigger knives coming in from Brock and from Carnivora that we will bang on and bash on and crash on, and will show build quality. I don't think that every knife we need to show, you know, hey, this thing is bomb-proof, because not every knife needs to be bomb-proof. Each knife has a different form, a different function, and holds up to different tasks. This knife, to me, does a little bit of everything. It's a good work knife. It's a good wood processing knife for what you're going to do. You know, we're not out there trying to split a 6-inch diameter log for making kindling, tinder, things like that. The leaf-shaped blade is very, very, very conducive for slicing. It's having a, I believe, what we say, like a 3.5-inch blade with a 3-inch cutting edge, something like that. You can get into some tight spaces, but it also gives you enough blade length to make the cut, to complete the cut without having to stop. All in all, I absolutely adore, and I mean it, I adore this knife. And you say, well, Scab, that's because you thought of the same thing. That's true. I'm more excited to see that a design that I had in the back of my head, someone improved on, tweaked, had the same thought process, but more than that, the damn thing works. And to see it work, it's just exciting, man. I can't tell you how much I love this knife, how much of a vibe knife this is. It's called the Flick. I don't know if I said that up front. Now, Carnivora Tools is an American company, an American maker. They're doing a big job, but they're a younger company, all right? This is where feedback comes in. This is where stopping by at Blade, picking things up, checking them out. That's where it's going to come in big, right? These guys know what they're doing. They've got a good design team. They've got a great team all the way around, and I'm excited to see where they go. I really, truly am. Having said that, guys, would I carry it? Oh my God, yeah. I am really big on this knife. But we got to get to this part, because this part's important, and it's probably the most important thing we do. Guys, there was a time in this country where 22 vets a day took their own lives. Now, stats are everywhere. The real numbers go from 15 to 29. That's why on this channel, we focus on the number 0. Anything over 0 is simply unacceptable. Vets, we love you. Man, you have a place here. Guys, I back the blue. It's not a popular thing. It's really not, and that's okay. I don't shove it down anybody's throat. I have my reasons, okay? And finally, if you are an addict, never quit quitting. Well, this is the Flick by Carnivora Tools, designed by Bryce Plummer. Huge shout out and thank you to Don and Brock for sending it over to me. Guys, remember, I'm Scab, you're not, and I'm gone, son. Digging this one big time.